Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys joining me for today's video. And guys, today I want to talk about why the month of August is the toughest month in bass fishing, in my opinion. Really sort of like from August into early September, toughest time of the year to fish. I want to explain why and give you guys some tips and advice on how to catch some fish during this time of year, because man, I tell you what, even though the fishing's tough, I love fishing in the summertime. My favorite way to fish is when I get out there first thing in the morning and I got a short sleeve shirt on and a t-shirt and short pants on, and I'm completely comfortable. I hate fishing in cold weather as much as I have to do it. So I'm not complaining. I always love fishing in hot weather. It's just some tough fishing sometimes. I'm also got a couple quick housekeeping tips to remind you guys of. Just wanted to invite everybody to please swing by and check out my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns. If you guys are struggling this summer or you're getting ready for some trips this fall, these are great resources to get some good fishing places on your favorite lake or a lake you've never been to before. Maps I built specifically for Fish the Moment that it's taken me like 5 years to build, so I'll put that link in the description of the video. And also guys, anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, just go to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, for details. I really appreciate that. Just shoot me a private message there. Okay, August, September, man, it's hard to catch fish. And let me explain a little bit why that is, and then we'll get into some things that you can do to really help out. Now, there's a couple different things with that, and we've talked about this some in the past videos, but since it is August, I want to get into this in more detail. One of the reasons that August is so tough fishing is you got a lot of different things working against you in terms of, just everything working not in your favor. You've got the bass are highly conditioned by August. They've been fished for the past 6 months heavily, especially tournament fishing. You got hot water temperatures, which, has a problem with oxygen level contents in both deep water and shallow water, dealing with thermocline issues in deep water and oxygen contents being low in shallow water. Then you usually have dropping water levels, and it's just hot. The water's hot, the weather's hot. It just, makes fishing a little bit more difficult. But you still can catch a lot of fish this time of year. And I want to talk about what I think is the easiest way to catch them. There's several different patterns that I like to fish this time of year that really help out. And my favorite way to fish during the month of August is fishing shallow water. I mean, I want to fish shallow, and I'm looking, for those fish to be in less than 5 foot of water, regardless of the water clarity. It can be clear or it can be in between. It can be, dirty water. That's what I'm looking for. The number one thing that you have to remember when you're fishing in August is shade is paramount in shallow water. Shade is everything. Bass are always going to be more active, and they're going to relate to shade. That's why, usually your shady banks early in the morning are better. Shade like underneath the boat dock, shade from an overhanging tree, anywhere that you can find shade, really good places to fish. And the shade changes throughout the course of the day. And one of my patterns that I look for this time of year is I run shade. I try to familiarize myself with the different way the banks are positioned on a lake so I can be on shady banks most of the day. Now, on most lakes across the country, depending upon the time of day and the angle of the bank, you can fish shade to some extent all day long. The shade pockets may be smaller up in the day when the sun's overhead, but there are options to do that. So this is the number one thing, because bass in August, they can relate to shade and nothing else. You can have a bare bank that has nothing on it except gravel or sand or rock, and if you got some shade on that bank, there's going to be some bass there a lot of times, because bass are not the only fish that like it. Other like perch and minnows and that type of stuff, they like to be around shade also, because it's sort of more of an ambush point, and it offers some protection even if the cover's not there. So shade, always fish around that. Next thing, guys, is just you need to fish some type of an area that has some type of heavy cover if you don't have shade. Now, this can be something like a very rocky bank. It could be, like some type of trees in the water. It can be grass in the water. Some type of cover in shallow water is going to be necessary for that. And depending upon the water clarity, there's a lot of different techniques. My number one technique for fishing in August, if the water is clear, like over 3 or 4 foot of visibility, is a topwater lure. Walking topwater baits, whopper ploppers, buzz baits, frogs, you can catch bass all day long in August on them. If the water's sort of in that in-between zone, sort of like that 2 to 3.5 foot zone, you know, there's a diversity of techniques that can work. Top waters can still work. I really like a swim jig that time of year. It can be really good. Maybe some type of a Texas rig worm. And if the water is off colored, like if you have water visibility of under 2 foot, especially water visibility around 12 inches or so, you can't beat a little small crankbait or some type of a small moving bait. Little bitty shad pattern crankbait, little spinner bait, something like that can be really good. Also, flipping a small soft plastic, like a small 4-inch worm, can be good in those situations. So you don't have to fish deep in August. If you do fish deep, guys, there's going to be some fish on the bottom and suspended both. But I have found out my most consistent success takes place in August if I'm fishing 2 different ways. Number 1, a top water and clear water. Number 2, a little crankbait in dirty water. If I could give you 2 pieces of advice on any lake across the country, get you like a couple top waters, like a walking top water, like a Zara Spook, or like a 1/2 ounce buzz bait or a whopper plopper. Cover water and clear water, and cover water in the clear water, or find the dirtiest water that you can and fish a little crankbait. That Megabass Super Z2, you guys hear me talking about that a lot. That's a real good one for that. Super Z2 crankbait, a little black finesse worm's good for flipping and pitching. All those can be really good. And some type of a perch pattern swim jig can also be effective. But don't feel like you've got to fish deep because it's hot, because those bass love to be in super shallow water during late summer. I'm not talking about a ton of bass, but there's enough bass to give you some good action in fishing. And also, guys, don't feel like you have to get out there right off the bat in the morning. One of the biggest myths or misconceptions in fishing is, I got to get out there for the early topwater summer bite before the sun gets up. That's not true. Most all of the best days I've had in August have come in the middle of the day, when you've got the smaller shade pockets and that type of cover. So anyway, guys, just a few tips there. We're going to have a tough couple months of fishing, August and September. Then we'll start picking up again a little bit later in the year. But you can definitely keep catching fish, just adjusting your technique. So hope it helps you guys. We'll talk later.